Well, hello, everybody. So, we are at that time. We have got to the point where we are ready to take our first unit test. And of course, we're going to try to give you a review to help you with this. So we have to remember that there are several times in math where we're thinking about writing equations, or they give us equations, or maybe they give us a table full of answers, like in our first question. Our inputs, 5, 10, 15. Our outputs are 1, 2, and 3. And they give us a scenario that we can sit here and we can try to write things. And we have to read carefully, right? So weather. You can approximate the distance to a lightning strike by counting the seconds between the flashes of lightning and the sound of thunder. This table shows you the relationship between the time and the distance. Time is the input, distance is your outputs. The equation t equals 5d shows the relationship between time in seconds and distance, d in miles. Solve the equation for d. So here's an equation they give you. They want you to solve the equation for d. t equals 5d. They want d to be by itself. That means we need to get rid of the 5, so we divide by 5. These cancel. So our d is equal to t over 5. But oh, wait, I don't see a t over 5. Well, yes, you do. Technically, if you want to write this, like this is the one that looks the closest, right? You could rewrite this as 1/5 times t. How could you test this? How do you know your answer is right? Take 5 and plug it in. 5 over 5 is 1. It matches up. Plug in the 10. Okay, so 10 would be 10 over 5, which is 2. Plug in the 15. So that's 15 over 5, which is 3. So you know your answer is right. Guys, that is literal equations. Here's another one. Temperature. The hottest temperature recorded in Key West, Florida was 98 degrees. That's the hottest. That was the maximum. It's the total. That was equal. This was 25 degrees colder than 3 times the coldest temperature of record. All right. This is 25 degrees colder than 3 times the temperature of record. So basically, whatever the coldest temperature was, 25, it's 3 times colder than the coldest temperature on record. 3 times, and what are they using for a variable? Looks like all the equations use T. And we look, does any of this match? And we have to make sure that this is true. You got to solve it. Are you actually getting this amount? So minus 25, solve your equation, see if they work out. And then you're going to divide by 3 and check your numbers in the calculator. 73 divided by 3 gives us a decimal, 24.33333 repeating. Does that match up to any of our answers? Well, look, the 23 does. 24.3. They rounded. Great. And does the equation match? 3t plus 25. We have 25 plus 3t. We're good. We might have wrote it backwards, but that is still an equivalent statement. All right, here's this one. This is a nice, easy one. It just says solve. So in order to solve, we're trying to solve for p. We box it. That means we make our scales. Add 12. What you do to one side, you have to do to the other side. So this now is 48 equals 2p. We divide by 2, trying to get rid of that multiplication, and we end up with 24. Those cancel, equal p. Great. None of this has been so hard. This is stuff straight out of our homework, straight out of our notes, straight off of our check for understanding quizzes. Here's this huge equation. And this is solve for x. So again, guys, this is a literal equation. I'm going to rewrite this one because it's all cramped up there. And I like to have some room. I can notice this. We got a fraction. The first thing I want to do is get rid of this fraction. I need to get rid of a denominator. Well, this is division, and to get rid of it, you multiply. And if I multiply one side by 2, multiply the other side by 2. These cancel. Now I have 15 plus ax. All right, I'm trying to solve for, it says x. Put a box around this term. That means I need to get rid of a positive 15. I have to subtract. And if I do it to one side, I have to do it to the other. All right, so 22 minus 15, we end up with 7. AX comes down. Now these two are being multiplied by each other. I need this to be by itself. So to get rid of that A, undo multiplication by division. Those cancel. And that's it. Our x is equal to 7 over a. Is that one of our answer choices? Not that one, not that one, not that one. Oh, look, it's right there. Guys, all about solving equations is following a pattern, doing the same thing over and over and over again. Identify what you're looking to solve for and just keep plucking and moving pieces off one at a time, like peeling an onion, till you get to the very center. Each layer comes off, and then finally you're at the core. There's first 4 of our 11 problems. Oh, look at this one. Oh, they gave us decimals. What will we ever do? We will use our calculators because that's why we have them. I'm trying to solve for x. I need to get rid of a minus 2.6, so I'm going to add 2.6. Great, those cancel. I'm left with, I'm going to move over here, 3x plus 12.6. This is multiplication, divide. Oh, that's supposed to be an equal sign. So you have 12.6, use a calculator, divided by 3, gives us 4.2. And this is a direct input, so we would have to actually type 4.2. Here we go. This is solving again. This time, before we even solve, we have sets of parentheses here. We're going to have to distribute. And then we have to distribute. And then rewrite all this part. All right, now we're almost there. We need to solve. We need the x to be by itself. Our problem is that we have x's on both sides. So we want to move the smaller x. That way we're dealing with positive numbers. Okay, 6 minus 4 is 2 x's. These cancel, which means I need to move this to the other side. So I'm going to subtract the 4. 36 minus 4 is 32. Well, our x is almost by itself. We have to divide by 2. And if I divide one side by 2, I'll divide the other side by 2. And then we take 32 divided by 2 gives us 16. So we look, is one of our answer choices 16? Yep, right here. Could have also taken the 16 and plugged it in. Take the 16, plug it in, and your answer should equal each other. Multiple choice, plug it in and see which one works. Second way to beat a test. Okay, this is the one that's a little bit more difficult here. This is an absolute value. Okay, our first step in absolute value is that we have to isolate this absolute value, which means I need to get rid of this 3 that's being multiplied. So I have to divide. And 24 divided by 3 is 8. So what we have left is the absolute value of y plus 4 equals 8. Step 1 is done. We isolated it. Step 2, split it into 2 equations. One is set equal to 8, and the other one is going to be set equal to -8. And we solve each one. It's a one-step equation, guys. Subtract 4. Y is equal to 4. And on this one, we're going to subtract another 4. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, -12. So our answers are solution set. We have 2 answers, -12 and 4. Which one has negative and 12 and 4? Oh, look, they tried to trick us here. Don't let them fool you. Here it is. -12 and 4. Can isolate, split it into 2, one with a positive answer, one with a negative answer, and solve. You get 2 answers. That's what you're looking for. Notice this one. This is the one we talked about in class about writing the equation. We have a halftime show at a football game. There's a stage being built somewhere. The center of the stage is on the 35-yard line. And then the distance from the center to the outer edges is 11 yards in either direction. 11 yards plus, 11 yards minus. There we go. Here's our variant. This is the thing that feels like the plus or minus. We know in an absolute value equation, what it's set equal to, that variant is on the outside. You always start with your variable, and we're going to subtract whatever the number they give us. That was a horrible looking 3. There you go. Yeah, it looks better. Do any of these match? Oh, look, right here. There's our equation. Notice they gave us this one where they flip-flopped the 2. Not right. Then these are ones they're multiplying the same thing, but doubling it by a factor of 2. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about. Okay, so very simple setup on this. The variant is on the outside. They only give you one other number, and that is being subtracted from x on the inside, and you're good to go. This one should look familiar. It's the butterfly method. 5 times x plus 15. This is a proportion problem. Equals 10 times 8, which is 80. Distribute. Be careful. You don't know your 15 tables. Please use a calculator. 15 times 5, 75. Now it's a 2-step equation. This is what we're solving for. We need to get rid of that 75. Gives us 5 left. Bring it down. Being multiplied, so we divide to get rid of. X is equal to 1. There you go. Most of this test is pretty straightforward, guys. Always solving for a variable, whatever variable they give us. Here's another one. They want us to solve for X. Notice there's a Y in here. So our answer will have a variable. It's sort of like a literal equation, just rearranging this formula. We have it over here, but this is trapped in a fraction. We're trying to get the X, so we want to multiply both sides by 5. This side here will be times 5. So now we have a 20y is equal to X plus 12. Because it causes those to cancel. Subtract our 12. Now wait, those are not like terms, so all you can do is rewrite it. Cancel, and there's what our X equals. Notice how they try to switch you up. They give you 2 of them that look alike, but they're saying, hey, maybe we're going to trick these guys and they're not going to do the proper sign of equality. This was the subtraction property of equality. So don't let them fool you. I know that one looks alike, but it's not right. Oh, these are the fun ones. Remember this? According to a survey, 12.3% of men over 30 in Jonesville work 2 or more jobs. The survey had a margin of error, plus or minus 1.9%. Of the estimated 35,000 men that were over the age of 30, how many do we expect to work more than 2 jobs? So guys, this was very important the way we set this up. We need to have 2 calculations. First one, we need to do the negative variant. So it's 23.3. We're going to subtract that 1.9. Then we're going to do it again. This is for the high side. 12.3. We're going to add 1.9. Please make sure you're using calculators. You do not want to make a mistake with this. Not on a problem this easy. And I think there's 2 on the test. So 12.3 minus 1.9 gives us 10.4. 12.3 plus 1.9 gives us 14.2. Only problem is these are percentages. We cannot use or do the math with the percentage. We have a button on our calculator that will auto convert it for us. Second, number 2, or just divide this by 100. 0.104, divide this by 100. Gives you 0.142. And the only thing left is we have to multiply this times at 35,000. And this is all setup and calculator. And be careful if it asks you about rounding or anything, okay? So these are people. We should have nice whole numbers, but let's test it. 0.104 times 35,000. Oh, they gave us a nice, pretty number. Here we end up with 3,640 people. 0.142 times 35,000. You come up with 4,970. And it's important you put them in order from the smallest to the largest, okay? Our last question is about The area of a trapezoid. And look, they gave us the formula. For H is the height, and A and B are measures of two bases. Okay. They want us to, let's see. What is the height of the trapezoid with an area of 32 square inches if the two bases are 4 and 6? So here, they're giving us the entire equation except for the H. We have the area, that's 32. We do not have H, we have A, could be 4, B is 6. So let's write out with the equation with what we have. 32 equals 1/2 H times 4 plus 6. Okay, we can clean this up a bit. Actually, look, we can even do this more because this is all sitting over itself. Uh, what is this? What is 10 times 1/2? This is saying 1/2 times H times 10. 10 times 1/2 is 5. Right? We're going to solve for H, divide by 5. The height of this trapezoid, 32 divided by 5 is 6.4 inches. And that's it, guys. You got to remember, look at those. Why you also study, go back and look at ones that are in our homework. Remember when we've done notes on the board and I said, this should be a test question. Something like this might show up on a test. It's usually the ones with the stars, the ones that are the word problems. Take a look at some of those too. It is important to make sure that you are always, always trying your best and just trying in general. All right. So here you go. This is your test review done for you. I hope you guys enjoy. Please get out there and make sure you're trying.